So,
Would that be just like unmuting the room?
yeah.
Okay.
You can probably see a little bit of the person and see.
And then you should, so, sorry.
Hang on, sorry.
You should be able to hear,
Okay.
and then we can test. But go ahead and just unmute your laptop and see if you can hear us.
Got it. Go.
Mic check, mic check. Awesome. Okay. You know what?
That was an echo.
Yeah, it'll echo through because we've got multiple, as long as that's muted, the echo should stop.
Perfect.
So, yeah, but actually, Lonnie, go ahead and then see if you can hear me from here. Mic check. Okay. Okay, so that should be, it should be pretty stable. We're in broadcast, I gotta run over and kind of meet up with Brian again.
Yeah.
If anything comes up, feel free to Teams us and I'll be right up.
All right, thank you very, very
No problem.
much.
Thanks, and I'll probably see you, I guess, later this afternoon.
Yes, well.
Awesome.
See you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to,
Like stand here,
okay, don't worry.
is that all right, an angle?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
I just want to know how we would show it like on the screen. Don't.
Okay. Michael,
other people. And this is the only map that's accurate.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming to the zoning administrator meeting of April 20th, 2023. My name is Susie Murray, and I'm the zoning administrator for the city of Santa Rosa. I prefer to be called Susie, just so you know, but if you want to be more formal, that's certainly your choice. I want to mention that the meeting is being live streamed. Members of the public can come in via Zoom, and will be given the opportunity to ask questions or make comments. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's 10:31. The second item on the agenda is actually a public comment period. And this is a time when members of the public may address matters that are not listed on this agenda, but which are within the purview of the zoning administrator. The public may comment on agenda items when the items are called. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes now and during that time. So is there anybody that would like to make a public comment in the room? Not seeing any hands, so is there anybody?
There's nobody on Zoom either.
Okay, I'm gonna look up one thing I didn't get. I want to mention, and I'll try to mention this again as I go through each of the items, that all decisions made by the zoning administrator are subject to appeal. The appeal period extends 10 calendar days after the date of the meeting, which in this case would be May 1st. So if there is an appeal to any decision, any action taken today, May 1st is the last date to get that appeal application submitted. You can get the appeal application online. You can contact planning@srcity.org, that email address, or you can come in and get one from the counter. So with that, I will move on to item number 3.1, which is the statement of purpose for the zoning administrator. And first, I'd like to thank staff for getting that updated for me. The zoning administrator is appointed by the Director of Planning and Economic Development and has the responsibility and authority to conduct public meetings and hearings and to act on applications for minor or reduced review authority projects or entitlements, land use permits. A determination or decision by the zoning administrator may be appealed to the appeal body, including the appropriate appeal body, including the Design Review Board, Cultural Heritage Board, Planning Commission, and the City Council. As I said earlier, the last date for appeals for any actions taken today is May 1st. You'll hear me say that probably a couple more times, and I'm sorry to sound like a broken record player, but there's a reason for that. The first item on the agenda tonight is a public meeting, or today is public meeting for exterior modifications at 2360 Professional Drive. The project is exempt from CEQA. It's minor design review, city file DR22-052, and Suzanne Hartman is the planner. Take it away.
Thank you, Zoning Administrator Murray. I am presenting the project located at 2360 Professional Drive. They are proposing to conduct various exterior modifications and repairs to the existing commercial building, including the facade siding and windows. The commercial building is located between various retail and office businesses with Sonoma County owned facilities located to the north of the project site. The zoning district is office commercial, and the general plan land use designation is office. So again, the modifications involve repairing some damaged wood siding and also adding additional aluminum windows and replacing some existing windows. All of the proposed modifications are consistent with the existing architecture of the building. The monument sign is also proposed to be removed. So staff was able to make all the required design review findings, including the project has been found in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. Pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15303, the project is categorically exempt from CEQA in that the project involves minor alterations to an existing structure. Some general comments that were provided from nearby residents was the concern of the construction hours and the noise. And staff had put in a condition of approval that construction hours shall be limited to 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturdays, and no construction is permitted on Sundays and holidays. Additionally, staff have decided to also include a condition of approval that would require the project manager to post a publicly visible sign at the primary entrance that would show the listing of telephone numbers to be used during regular construction hours and off hours in contact or in off hours regarding any noise complaints. So therefore, it is recommended by the Planning and Economic Development Department that the zoning administrator approve a minor design review permit to allow for various exterior modifications and repairs to an existing commercial building located at 2360 Professional Drive. And the applicants do not have a presentation, but they are present if any questions arise. Thank you.
Does the applicant team have anything they'd like to add?
Yes, good morning, Sean McCray, Western Builders. Just that the building is they bought it approximately about 10 years ago. It is all wood siding construction and it's in very need of repair before the actual wind will probably blow the siding off. So it's, I think it's a good project. It's going to make the area much nicer than it is today. I think the noise concerns were easily maneuvered around. I wish we could change the working hours to 7 to 5 or something in there, but if it's a deal breaker, then we can work through that portion of it. But I know the owners are excited to have it happening and so are we. So thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to open the public comment period. Is there anybody in the room that would like to comment? And are there any hands raised, Lonnie?
We don't have any. We don't have any attendance in Zoom.
Oh, okay, good. That makes it easy. Will you let me know if somebody does come in?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Lillian. I have a question. Were the public comments that were received expressing concerns about the construction noise, were those residential or commercial?
It was residential.
Residential.
No, it was just one.
Oh, okay. I think whenever we have construction near residential uses, we trim down, it's a standard practice that we trim down the construction hours, starting them a little bit later in the morning so that we don't interrupt the breakfast time and ending them so we don't interrupt the dinner hour. If it were commercial uses, I consider otherwise, but it's real standard and it's just it's a compatibility issue. I also looked at the plans and I'm familiar with the building. My vet is right down in the corner. And of course, we all know In-N-Out is right there. So anyways, I am familiar with the building. I'm thrilled that the sign's being removed. And I'm also thrilled at the repairs. The architecture is a style that I happen to be very fond of. So it'll be nice to see it brought back to similar to its original state. So with that, I do have one condition of approval that I would like to add, and that is that the plans submitted for building permits match those that were approved today. And if there are any changes When construction drawings are drawn, please make sure that Planner Hartman is made aware of this before building permit plans are submitted. And with that, I will move on to the next item. Sorry, my computer decided to take a nap. Okay, item 5.2 is a public meeting for the Hawley residents, a hillside development project. It's exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, and it is located on Happy Valley Court. The address is 0. That typically refers to a property that is not developed. And again, the planner is Suzanne Hartman. Go ahead and give your presentation.
Thank you, Zoning Administrator Murray. Yes, the next item is a hillside development permit at 0 Happy Valley Court. The applicant is proposing to construct a single-family dwelling and an accessory structure located near the rear of the property there. The percent slope of the project site is ranging between 10% to 25%, so it was determined that a hillside development permit was needed, and why it's here today with the zoning administrator meeting. Hillside development permits provide kind of a review process for the city to consider the appropriateness of the proposed development on hillside parcels to ensure that a proposed project minimizes its visual and environmental impact. Some site planning and development standards for hillside development includes having a 20-foot front setback as well as 15-foot side and rear setbacks for the primary structure, which have been in compliance, which this project complies with. And accessory structures, however, are allowed to be up to 5 feet, have 5-foot setbacks, which is why the accessory structure here is shown to be a lot closer to the property lines versus the primary. So the project is located within the R115 zoning district, and the general plan land use designation is very low residential, and it's also surrounded by very low residential properties. And as you can see on the screen here, this is the proposed first floor plan. And this is the proposed second floor plan. And then we have the roof plan of the primary structure. This is the proposed south and east exterior elevations.
Is that the primary structure?
Yes, this is the primary structure. And I think what this project did very nicely with this lot is because the design itself kind of minimizes grazing by being a long and narrow design, which given the shape of this parcel is very helpful in that regard. Staff were able to make the required findings for the hillside development permit, and I'm not going to state all of them because they are stated in the resolution, but I'll just name a few of them. Site planning minimizes the visual prominence of hillside development by taking advantage of existing site features for screening, including tree clusters, depressions in topography, setback hillside plateau areas, and other natural features. And I did confirm with the architect that the existing trees on the lot are proposed to stay. And an additional finding that's also included in the list is that site development minimizes alteration of topography, drainage patterns, and vegetation on land with slopes of 10% or more. Again, this design being long and narrow kind of minimizes the grading of the topography, and again, with the trees being proposed to stay will help with the screening with the neighboring property. And this is the cross-section page. And a continuance of building cross-sections of the proposed primary structure. And then I'm going to escape out of the plan set and show the renderings as well. So the proposed project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and qualifies for a Class 3 exemption under Section 15303, in that it involves the construction of a single-family detached dwelling. The only public comments that I received were just in regards to what the proposed plans were. There weren't any raised issues or concerns. So therefore, it is recommended by the Planning and Economic Development Departments that the zoning administrator approve a hillside development permit to allow for the construction of a single-family dwelling unit and an accessory structure located at 0 Happy Valley Court. And I also do have additional site photos if you'd like to
I would love to
see those. I might have to stop sharing for a second. Okay. I took these from the entry, so as you can see where it's kind of already, you can see it kind of like a paved trail there. That's where the driveway is going to be.
keep those up, okay?
Okay. And
And,
the applicants are here if you have any questions.
and do the applicants have anything they'd like to add at this
No.
time?
I'm the designer, I'm Kevin O'Malley, this is the owner, Paul Hawley. So I think staff did a good job presenting, we're here to answer any questions.
Okay, and any members of the public? I'd like to open the public comment period.
I wanted to say something, but I'd like to talk a little bit about,
Excuse me, sir. Sorry, before you get started, Suzanne, I'm actually gonna have to ask you to stop sharing your screen so I can share mine. Public comments are 3 minutes long, so give me a second to get the timer going, and then you can go ahead and start. Go for it.
well, I wanted to talk about 3 items that I think are very significant to that lot that I don't know have been addressed. This is new information a lot here to me. The neighborhood has only been shown this card as far as I know, and this card is not accurate. I can point out some things in this that are not accurate. The runoff is a very significant problem. My patio has been flooded 5 times this year. My swimming pool has been loaded with water. It's right beside this. Right when I first moved in, there was a rainstorm, and all of the 2 of the neighbors and myself got out our pumps and pumped the thing. The runoff from this lot goes onto an easement. And I don't know if that's been addressed at all, but that there's an easement which is currently not been maintained in the 5 years that I've been living there. It has been plugged up, and for the past, this whole season, you've had to drive through water to get to the people's homes on this easement. And this lot drains right onto that easement. I think that should be addressed somewhat. Okay, since I don't have a little time, I want to address the problem across the street. In terms of density, Sonoma County has a mental facility. It is set up to have 4 patients. 4 patients involve staff 24 hours of the day. So there's at any time, there is 4 to 10 cars parked out front of this one house, right across the street from this location. It takes 24 hours of the day, that house is active. There's people. Anyway, okay. I wanted to go on to the next thing too, that I think needs to be addressed is the utilities for this house will come off of a telephone pole, which they seem in their map to say that they own. If they do not, I could show you all the maps here that show that that's incongruous with it. And let's see what else, anything else I have to say is, no, that's about all. But the parking, there's 4 to 10 cars there at any time. We can go out there anytime.
I have a question. I've got the parking. I already made myself a note about that. But I have a question for you, and then the notice. You made a reference about the notice, the card,
Yes.
postcard that you got.
Yes,
Do you mind sharing with me what the concern is on that?
it's the property line, it shows that the telephone pole is included in this parcel. It is not, it's included in my parcel. The property lines right around that on this card are drawn inaccurately compared to all the information I have. And that goes back to 1947 when they broke this parcel up. So,
Thank you. Was that the primary concern on the mailed notice?
yes, on the mailed notice. Yes.
So I'd like to ask some questions, just
Okay.
not of you, but of actually staff and the development team.
Sure.
And the first question I have is for the development team is about the telephone pole.
Sorry.
Oh, I need
Do you want to close the
close?
public comment?
I didn't before. I'd like to close both public comment periods, as a matter of fact, all three. If I can ask someone on the development team to address the utility pole and the location of
The
it.
location of it,
Yeah, is it on the property or
I'd have
we
to
know
go
that?
back and look at the map again. I mean,
it
It's not.
shows on
I
the,
mean, nobody owns it, it's the utility that owns it. So
It's, I'd have to disagree. I have given an easement, or that property has given an easement to PG&E.
Sir, I gotta put the kibosh. This is a conversation now with me,
Mhm.
and I'll answer questions, and I'll try to explain to the best of my ability how that works. So, can you go ahead and finish that? The utility poles are owned by the utility company? I do know that. The utility poles are owned by the utility company, and they are on easements on properties often. So that doesn't mean that the property owner owns them. It means that the property owner owns the land, and they've given the utility companies permission to operate there. So I want to talk first, I want to address the runoff. Through this process, we approve the use. But after this process, the applicant will need to go to the building department with a building permit. And as part of that building permit process, we make sure that they implement measures that will redirect the water flows from that property. And in fact, I think in this case, it may benefit you that the water flows will go to somewhere other than your property that will eventually end up in a creek. So that's one thing. And we have to do that because the city is under a permit with the North Coast Regional Water Quality Control Board, a big long acronym to
Can I add
to spell
something
it
to
out.
that as well?
Yes, please.
Also including runoff, the engineering department has kind of done a preliminary review of this project, and that is also included in their conditions of approval as regards to runoff. That's in their exhibit. So I just wanted to add that as well, so that it is going to be addressed.
And last, do you want to talk about not the density across the street, but the parking issue?
I was not aware of
No.
the parking.
No, I wasn't either until here. So let me chime in a little bit on the parking issue. I didn't want to step on any toes. The parking, I believe is Happy Valley a private street or a public street?
It's public, it's public. Happy Valley is down to this circle. At the circle, it becomes private.
Okay,
Any continuance on is private.
So that's the core area.
okay.
And these are like private driveways.
Okay, so here's what I don't know. I don't know the parking situation out on Happy Valley. I haven't seen it. Typically, we have public parking on the street, but that may be different here. And I don't know what the agreement is out there, but what I'm wondering, how many off-street parking spaces are included in this project? A garage, driveway, two-car garage, three-car garage?
Two-car, yep.
And two-car driveway. So the property is required to have 4 parking spaces. They can be on street in front of the proposed home, or they can be off street. In this case, they're meeting their required parking off street. So I think as designed, they have met their parking requirement. I know that we will have to review the grading and the site drainage, and I think that you will be pleasantly surprised once this is constructed, that it will minimize any runoff, if not eliminate it completely, onto your property. The density, the home, it's within the allowable density of the general plan and the zoning district, and it's a residential lot. And the utilities, again, are the responsibility of the utilities company, regardless of where those poles are placed. And if you have other questions, I'm sure that you can reach out to Suzanne. Her contact information is on that card, and she can show you plans that I think will put your mind at ease and put you in touch with other members of our staff that could also help put your mind at ease, including our building plan checkers and our engineers, to give you a little bit more detail on the grading. So I also want to find out what the building height is on the accessory structure.
16.
16 feet.
And it
Great,
does
and
show
that's
it on
at the
one of the
deepest,
slides as well.
that's at the deepest.
Yeah,
Point,
that's
yeah.
at the top one.
Okay, good. And I do want to add, on this one, I want to add actually 2 conditions. I would like to add that during construction, that on all plan sets submitted for building permits and during construction, that you implement or add in the tree protective measures, standard tree protective measures, which Suzanne can provide. And also the standard bird and bat protective measures. So regardless if any trees are being removed, we'll want to protect their roots, but we're also going to want to protect any wildlife that's living in the trees that are protected. So those measures are February 1st to August 31st. If you do any pre-construction activities on the off months, those measures aren't required, but Suzanne's got standard language for that. So with that, I am going to go ahead and approve the project. And I'm going to reiterate again that
or comments.
I gave I'm sorry.
I wanted to make comment on this.
Are you a neighbor as well?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I closed the public. I just assumed that I didn't see any other hands. You have 3 minutes. I'm going to reopen the public comment
Oh,
period.
thank you. Well,
Oh, yeah.
I just have I'm the property owner where adjacent to the studio building that's going in. And it's only a 5-foot setback from the property line. I just wanted to make sure that a survey is being done so that we know exactly where that property line is. I've already talked with Paul a long time ago about the a fence going up there, and we're both amenable to that. But I'll make sure before construction starts that there is a survey, because I can't find any survey pins anywhere. And when we've only been in our property for 1.5 years. So it's new to us.
Beautiful area.
Okay. Is there going to be a survey? Can I?
Well, so it's generally not a conversation. I've made.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
I
fine.
didn't
You're fine.
recognize Paul.
You're fine. And I notice another person in the room that has not spoken yet. Do you have comments as well, sir?
John and I are partners for 55 years. Yes.
And if you have anything, you've got 3 minutes too, so you are more than welcome. It doesn't.
Well, thank you. I'm David Christopher. One of our concerns, we're at 3485 Happy Valley Court, is that right at what will be the entrance to 0 Happy Valley Court is a fire plug. And there can be no parking within 20 feet of that thing. And I'm telling you, the group home will have any, they will call and have any cars towed that break that. And now it's so overgrown with vegetation, you can't even see the fire plug. That's dangerous.
When you say fire plug, or you say, is that
Fire
fire hydrant?
hydrant.
Yeah,
Fire hydrant.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, so is the fire hydrant in the public right of way, or is that on a property?
It's right at the entrance to 0 Happy Valley Court.
I feel like I saw it. I think I saw a post, baller. So, has the property been surveyed? It has, okay. So,
Topographic survey, not a boundary survey.
okay, so it sounds like we might need a boundary
Well, they
survey
will do,
along that
when they do
property line.
construction staking, they'll be having to find all the pins and pull off of that, yeah.
Okay, so are you okay with me asking for evidence of that survey as part of the building permit, just to ensure that we're 5 feet away?
As long as it's not a boundary survey, yeah. Locating pins.
Locating
Yeah.
pins, yeah, verify, is that appropriate, is that acceptable to your neighbor? I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. No, to you in the blue shirt. I know, I can't even point.
Yeah, as long as we know exactly where the property line is.
Okay.
It's
So-
boundary, that's boundary.
Yeah.
It's a boundary, but it may not be a
Yeah.
formal boundary survey.
Boundary survey is.
We will absolutely identify the boundary prior to any fence or structure being built. So if we can you add a condition to also that says, provide evidence of boundary. The reason I don't want to require a boundary survey is because those can be very expensive. And I think we can do this without that. We're concerned about the property line. We can find that without doing a full-blown boundary survey. So that's the reason for my condition, and it's just established the northern property line?
That would be
The rear.
where the accessory structure is.
I think that's, isn't that a side? We've identified side though. Okay, western, is north that way? Yes, it's the western property line. Okay, and then the fire hydrant, I'm concerned that that's overgrown with weeds. So I'm just gonna make a comment for staff. We will follow up on that fire hydrant. It should be exposed so that the fire department can see it. So I don't know if the property owner or whoever's responsible for that's in the room, I suggest you go ahead and remove the weeds, and if it belongs to somebody else, I'll get the fire department on it and make sure that that's cleared out. As far as parking within the 20 feet from the parking hydrant, their driveway parking may very well be within 20 feet of the hydrant. That's in the public right of way. On the private street, I would assume those same rules apply. So, meaning that they need to stay away from the parking hydrant. And I'm just gonna recommend that whenever you see somebody that's parked too close to it, you go ahead and call, I think our traffic division deals with those types of parking, or the fire department. Fire department will get right out there. Okay, and if you're looking for contact information for either of them, you can contact Suzanne. She'll have all of that information, or you can email planning@srcity.org. And Suzanne's email is also on that notice, so if you want to send something in writing, that's fine too. Okay, now I'm going to move on. So as the conditions that I've added, I think everybody's now had an opportunity to comment, I'm gonna go ahead and close the second comment period. And as conditioned, I'm going to go ahead and approve this project. I know Happy Valley is a beautiful street and y'all live in a beautiful area. Thank you very much for coming down and being part of this process. And I think that, sorry, my computer went back to sleep. Lonnie, is the last thing the adjournment?
Yeah.
Okay, so before I adjourn, I'm gonna say once again, appeals can be submitted up until May 1st. That's the process, it's an application. Suzanne can help you through it. And I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 11:06 on April 20th. Again, thanks a million for coming down. It's so nice.